Ribeye, the fat king that doesn't apologize. While other steaks pretend to be healthy, ribeye laughs in your face with white streaks of intermuscular fat running through every inch. That marbling is what separates amateurs from true steak lovers. When that fat hits the grill, it melts into the meat, creating butteriness so obscene that vegetarians have been known to break their vows just from the smell. Cut from ribs 6 through 12, the ribeye harbors a secret weapon, the cap, also called spinalis dorsi. Chefs whisper about it in kitchens like it's forbidden knowledge. It's so criminally delicious that some butchers illegally strip it off and sell it separately for double the price. You're getting robbed and you don't even know it. See cowboy steak on the menu? Forget it. That's the same ribeye with a longer bone that you're overpaying for. Pure marketing. Health nuts call ribeye a heart attack on a plate. They're not wrong. A single ribeye packs over 900 calories and 70 grams of fat. But if I wanted to be healthy, I'd order a damn salad. The ribeye proves a simple truth. Sometimes the most dangerous things taste the best. Filet Mignon, the beautiful lie. It costs $50 per pound, melts in your mouth, and has almost no flavor. That's the dirty secret fancy restaurants won't tell you. Filet mignon comes from the tenderloin, a muscle that does absolutely nothing during the cow's life. That's why it's softer than clouds. Each cow only produces 4 to 6 pounds of it, making it rare and expensive. But here's the scam. Tenderness doesn't equal taste. Filet mignon has almost zero marbling, which means almost zero beef flavor. So what do $100 per plate steakhouses do? They wrap it in bacon. They drown it in béarnaise sauce. They're covering up the fact that you paid $50 for texture, not flavor. Chefs privately mock filet as the beginner's steak for people who want to feel fancy without tasting real beef. Yet it remains the #1 ordered steak at business dinners and proposals. Why? Because it's foolproof. You can butcher the cooking and it's still tender. It's the participation trophy of steaks. Steak snobs order ribeye. Your boss orders filet mignon. New York strip, the steak that built an empire. While filet pretends to be fancy and ribeye drowns in fat, the New York strip dominates both. Cut from the short loin, it has enough marbling for flavor, but not so much that cardiologists send warning letters. It has a thick fat cap that renders down, basting the meat in its own juices. This is the steak that made Delmonico's restaurant legendary in the 1800s. Every steakhouse built their reputation on it. Why? Because the strip doesn't lie. It tastes like beef. Real, honest, in-your-face beef flavor, without needing bacon or sauce to hide behind. When you order a strip, the chef knows you're serious. You're not here for Instagram. You're here to eat meat. Here's what they don't tell you. The strip is actually half of the T-bone. It's the bigger, better side. Every time someone orders a T-bone for the aesthetic, they're really ordering a New York strip and paying extra for bone. The strip could exist alone. It chooses not to. That's power. T-bone, the cartoon steak that shouldn't work but does. That T-shaped bone makes it iconic, the steak Fred Flintstone would flip his car for. But here's the problem. You're cooking two completely different steaks, Frankensteins, together. On one side, a New York strip that wants high heat. On the other, tenderloin that wants gentle warmth. Put them over the same fire and you're guaranteed to overcook one side. Pro grill masters angle the T-bone so the strip faces flames while tenderloin hides in the cool zone. Home cooks just burn everything. Yet people keep ordering T-bones because that bone delivers something primal. Gnawing meat off bone makes you feel like an apex predator. Restaurants know this. They charge extra for bone even though bone is inedible waste. You're paying for theater. For a steak to be legally called a T-bone, the tenderloin must be at least 0.25 inches wide. Anything bigger becomes a Porterhouse with a 30% markup. Same steak, different name. Welcome to the game.
Porterhouse, the T-bone that got huge and came back flexing. Same T-shaped bone, same combo, but the Porterhouse has a tenderloin section at least 1.25 inches thick. That's 5 times bigger. A full Porterhouse weighs 24 ounces or more. That's a pound and a half of meat. Restaurants call it the steak for two, but real carnivores eat it solo while staring down nearby tables. The name comes from 19th century porterhouses, working-class taverns where laborers demolished massive steaks after brutal shifts. Ordering a porterhouse proved you had the appetite and the paycheck, the original flex. Today, steakhouses charge $120 and up, carving it tableside with ceremony reserved for royalty. You're paying for the show. But here's the truth. You're also paying premium price for bone. That T-shaped skeleton adds weight but almost no flavor. Butchers quietly laugh while charging $15 per pound for what they'd normally throw away. The porterhouse is the test. Can you finish it? Can you afford it? Can you admit you just paid $150 for an expensive New York strip with accessories?
Sirloin, the steak nobody respects until their bank account forces them to. Cut from the rear hip, sirloin is lean, firm, and costs half what premium cuts demand. It's the steak you ate at family barbecues before you knew what Wagyu meant. Grocery stores stack it in the value section. Chain restaurants serve it as the budget option. Steak snobs won't touch it. Too tough, they say. No marbling, they whine. They're wrong. Sirloin has minimal fat, which means zero room for error. Overcook it and you've made shoe leather. But cook it properly, medium rare, sliced thin against the grain, and sirloin delivers pure beef flavor without the guilt or mortgage payment. Here's what Americans miss. In Brazil and Argentina, sirloin cuts like picanha are considered superior to ribeye. Not equal, superior. Brazilian churrascarias cook picanha on skewers over open flames with just rock salt. The fat cap renders and bastes naturally. Brazilians think Americans are fools for ignoring picanha. They're not wrong. Sirloin proves expensive doesn't mean better. It means you need to know what you're doing.
Tomahawk, the $200 Instagram scam you'll photograph anyway. Take a ribeye, leave 8 inches of rib bone attached, charge triple. You just invented the tomahawk and a business model built on vanity. That bone adds nothing to flavor. It doesn't make meat more tender. It's purely visual, a prop engineered to make you pull out your phone. Restaurants figured out people will pay absurd prices for dramatic food photos. Salt Bay charges over $1,000 for gold-covered tomahawks. People pay it. They photograph it. They get 500 likes. They go home broke. The meat is excellent because it's ribeye underneath, but you're paying $75 extra for bone you cannot eat. Butchers are laughing. They're charging how much for bone we threw away? Cooking a tomahawk is a nightmare. It doesn't fit normal pans or ovens. You need to reverse sear it, slow roast to 115 degrees Fahrenheit internal, then blast in nuclear hot cast iron. Most people screw this up, overcook everything, and convince themselves it was worth it for the engagement. The tomahawk is capitalism in steak form. Performance art you can eat. Flatiron, the steak that wasn't supposed to exist. 20 years ago, butchers threw away the top blade muscle from the cow's shoulder. Too much connective tissue, they said. It went into ground beef for dog food. Then, in 2002, researchers at the University of Nebraska had a crazy idea. What if we cut around that tissue? What they discovered shocked the industry. Hidden in that trash muscle was the second most tender cut on the entire cow, beaten only by Filet Mignon. But unlike filet, the Flatiron had marbling. It had fat. It had everything ribeye lovers wanted at half the price. Butchers scrambled to learn the technique. Restaurants added it as a secret weapon, a steak that ate like $50 but cost $25. Customers felt like they'd found a cheat code. But there's a catch. Flatiron is only as good as the butcher who cuts it. Perfect precision gives you paradise. Leave tissue and you're chewing rubber. Most grocery store versions are cut by workers who don't care. You're gambling every time. When it's good,